Sandra Lee's story is often reduced to a viral curiosity, but the reality is far more layered than the internet's shorthand allows. She became widely known as a dermatologist who turned medical procedures into public content, yet the foundation of her career was built long before cameras arrived. What makes her journey compelling is not just the visibility, but the tension between intimacy and exposure, science and storytelling, professionalism and vulnerability. By her mid-50s, she had already lived several overlapping lives: physician, educator, television personality, entrepreneur, and patient. Each phase reshaped her identity while the world watched, often without understanding how deeply personal the work truly was. The foundations of discipline and ambition. Long before fame, Sandra Lee followed a path defined by discipline rather than spectacle. She pursued medicine through years of demanding education and training, eventually becoming a board-certified dermatologist. Her upbringing emphasized self-reliance and persistence, shaping a mindset that valued effort over recognition. She built her practice in Upland, California, a location far from major medical fame centers, focusing instead on consistent patient care. Dermatology gave her a unique lens on humanity, where physical conditions often carried emotional weight. Even in these early years, her ability to communicate calmly and clearly with patients set her apart from peers in subtle but meaningful ways. Medicine as emotional understanding. Dermatology is often misunderstood as purely cosmetic, but Sandra Lee experienced it as deeply human work. Patients came to her not only with physical concerns, but with shame, insecurity, and fear shaped by visible conditions. She developed a style of care rooted in empathy and reassurance, treating skin not just as biology, but as identity. Her consultations often became moments of emotional release for patients who had spent years hiding. This approach required more than clinical knowledge. It required patience and emotional awareness. Over time, she became known not just for skillful treatment, but for restoring dignity to people who had nearly forgotten what that felt like. The unexpected turn toward media, the shift toward public visibility, did not begin with ambition for fame. Instead, it emerged from curiosity and a desire to demystify medical procedures. Sandra Lee began recording her work, initially without strategy or branding, simply showing what dermatology looked like in real time. The early videos were raw and unpolished, focused entirely on education and transparency. Yet audiences responded in unexpected ways. Viewers who had never been interested in medical content found themselves captivated. The combination of discomfort and relief created a strange attraction. Without intending to, she had stepped into a space where medicine met storytelling at scale. Building a digital audience. As her videos circulated online, her audience grew rapidly and organically. People shared her content not only for shock value, but because it felt strangely calming and humanizing. She was not performing for the camera. She was simply working, and that authenticity became her defining trait. Over time, her channel evolved into a major platform with millions of followers across countries and cultures. Unlike traditional media figures, she did not build her audience through celebrity positioning, but through consistency and trust. Each video reinforced the same message: medical care could be honest, direct, and emotionally grounding without losing professionalism or respect for patients. Television and mainstream recognition. The success of her online presence eventually led to television opportunities, most notably a long-running series that brought her work to a global audience. The show amplified what had already resonated online: real patients, real conditions, and real emotional transformation. Viewers were not only drawn to procedures, but to the humanity behind them. Patients often arrived carrying years of emotional burden, and the act of treatment became symbolic release. The show's popularity demonstrated that audiences were willing to engage with discomfort if it was framed through care and authenticity. Sandra Lee became a recognizable figure without abandoning the principles that defined her practice: marriage, privacy, and quiet transitions. Behind her public career, Sandra Lee maintained a long marriage with fellow dermatologist Jeffrey Rebish. Together, they balanced professional collaboration with differing relationships to public life. While she stepped increasingly into visibility, he remained largely private, creating a dynamic that required ongoing adjustment. Over time, reports suggested shifts in their relationship, though no dramatic public statements defined the change. Instead, the transition appeared quiet and gradual, reflecting a mutual decision to handle personal matters privately. This period highlighted an important contrast in her life. While her career was increasingly visible, certain parts of her personal world became intentionally less so. Illness and public vulnerability. A defining turning point came when Sandra Lee was diagnosed with breast cancer, a moment she chose to share publicly. Rather than retreating into privacy, she spoke openly about her genetic risk, treatment decisions, and recovery process. This transparency aligned with the same philosophy that shaped her career, confronting uncomfortable realities rather than avoiding them. Her openness had immediate impact, encouraging others to pursue screenings and share their own experiences. However, the experience also introduced a deeper awareness of vulnerability. Illness shifted her relationship with time, health, and control, adding emotional complexity beneath her already demanding professional life, fame, pressure, and constant visibility. As her career expanded, so did the demands placed on her attention and energy. Managing a television show, a digital platform, a skincare brand, and a medical practice required sustained emotional and physical effort. Public visibility created pressure that extended beyond work into daily life, where boundaries between personal and professional became increasingly difficult to maintain. While she remained composed in public appearances, the accumulation of responsibility shaped her internal experience in quieter ways. Fame did not arrive as disruption but as gradual expansion, filling every available space until balance required conscious effort rather than natural separation, midlife reflection, and internal recalibration. By her mid-50s, Sandra Lee's life reflected both achievement and complexity. She had survived illness, navigated relationship transitions, and maintained a high-profile career. Yet beneath external success, a quieter process of reflection emerged. Questions about identity, purpose, and personal desire became more present. She continued working, but with a more selective and intentional approach to energy and engagement. Her communication style in interviews softened into reflection rather than performance. Rather than presenting herself as a constant symbol of resilience, she began speaking as someone who had learned from experience rather than simply endured it. Evolution of purpose and presence. What distinguishes Sandra Lee at this stage is not reinvention but refinement. She has not abandoned her work or identity, but has begun to inhabit them with greater clarity. Her focus remains on patience, education, and communication, but with an increased awareness of boundaries and sustainability. She no longer appears driven by expansion alone, but by alignment between work and personal values. This shift reflects a deeper maturity. Success is no longer measured only by reach or visibility, but by coherence and emotional honesty. Her presence feels less like performance and more like continuity shaped by lived experience. A legacy still unfolding, Sandra Lee's story does not resolve into a final conclusion because it is still actively unfolding. Her influence exists across multiple domains: medical practice, digital media, television, and patient advocacy. Yet the most enduring aspect of her legacy is not any single achievement, but her ability to make people feel seen in moments of discomfort. Whether through a medical procedure or a public conversation about illness, she has consistently emphasized dignity and openness. At 55, she stands not at an endpoint, but in a sustained chapter of contribution, where experience and purpose continue to evolve together. Conclusion: continuity over completion. The story of Sandra Lee ultimately resists simplification. It is not a rise and fall narrative or a neatly packaged success story. Instead, it reflects continuity, adaptation, and the ongoing negotiation between public identity and private life. She has built a career grounded in visibility without sacrificing authenticity, even when visibility created its own pressures. What remains consistent is her commitment to confronting what others avoid, whether in medicine or in life. Her journey illustrates that purpose is not a destination but a practice, sustained through change, challenge, and time, still unfolding with each new chapter she chooses to write.